the world at large isn't completely burned to the ground. Systems aren't completely burned to the ground, although there are going to be some systems that are, they don't look the same. At the end of this year, there are going to be a lot. I feel it's a lot of financial, a lot of banking. Like banking as we know it is definitely not going to be what we are used to it being by the end of 2025 and leading into 2026. There are other systems that are going to be crashing kind of as a result. That's going to, I want to say it's the domino effect. Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to my 2025 collective reading. This is a very general reading for the collective, just tapping into each month and what I feel is kind of coming up for us based on the energies of where we're at today. I originally recorded this for my Black Feather community, a wonderful group of people. And if you would like, if you're seeking community and you're looking for like-minded, like-hearted souls, I encourage you to join. It's completely free. And now I am putting it out to the collective and putting it out to you to offer this and share this information for you. Take what works for you, leave the rest behind. I've chosen 12 different oracle decks, one for each month. And then I also was called to tap into a color for each month. And the secret language of color cards here is a great way for us to really understand how we can use energy to support us regarding whatever information and whatever guidance is coming through. So stay tuned and get your sneak peek for what 2025 has in store. Let's get started. I'm very, very excited, and we're starting right now with the Starseed Oracle deck from Rebecca Campbell. And I want to say that 2025 is a 9-year, so we are definitely in like a wrapping up cycle, an ending cycle. And because of this wrap up and this ending, we are going to notice that there is going to be profound shift, profound change, profound chaos. Whenever something is wrapping up, we can say, you know, sometimes it's a bittersweet experience, but we are in the middle of this huge Aquarian shift. So the ending that we are experiencing this year, I feel, is kind of like, I can't even say it's tying up loose ends. It's really letting things fall. There's going to be a lot of rubble, and it's almost like a tower card year that we are sort of experiencing, we're stepping into. Now, the 9 in general is equated to the Hermit. And I do feel that even though this is going to be a very action-oriented year, the Hermit isn't very action-oriented from a physical standpoint. It's more of a sort of a retract, a retreat. But there's a lot going on in here. There's a lot going on in here. It's a soul-searching period of time. And so I feel like we're all going to be in that. So 9 energy is about endings, resolutions, completions, wrapping up of things, but it's also the number of service. And I feel like this is a year where all of us are really being called in a pretty gigantic way to figure out how we want to serve our community. How do we want to serve the collective? Yes, it's about our own lives and our own path and direction, but it's understanding we are the proverbial pebble in the pond. What actions we choose for ourselves have that ripple effect out in the collective. And so we want to be very conscious of that. So having said that, let's see what January is bringing us from that Starseed Oracle deck. Breath of the Cosmos. My will to thy will, micromanaging the universe. Yes. So, you know, it's so funny. I used to say micromanaging the universe way before Rebecca Campbell was on the scene. And when she came out with all of this stuff, I was like, oh my God, yay, there's someone else who understands my plight. You know, me being an A-type, I do struggle with that. I struggle to micromanage, or struggle with micromanaging the universe, and need to let that go, trust and flow. So Breath of the Cosmos is coming up and coming through for January, because it is about recognizing that there is something that we are breathing new life into, and it is more cosmic in nature. It is about stepping outside of this idea that we are alone, that the earth is the only thing, in the whole multiverse that's out there. No, we already know that we are part of a system, a solar system of planets. We are already very aware of the fact that we know and understand that we are a part of something bigger than us. And sure, it's hubris and egoic to think that we're the only, people, the only humans, the only species, human species out there. But that's just simply not true. So January, from a collective perspective, is really encouraging us to get out of what we think we know and step more in, and I'm going to say what we think we know, and step more into what we know, what we feel at a core level. And anyone who is watching this, you guys understand that, the world we see outside is a bit of the illusion, and that there's more to it, right? You have a concept and understanding that there's more out there than meets the eye. So I want to say I'm preaching to the choir here a little bit with this, but we as light workers, starseeds, sensitives, empaths, seekers, it is our time to really make this the forefront of our choices. We often say lead with the heart, not the head, or lead with the head, not the heart, depending on what's going on. I feel like this is the message to say, lead with your knowing, not your knowing. This isn't about ego. It isn't about logical, rational stuff. It is about that feeling that we all have within. And right now, some of our feelings are a little bit fear and dread just because there's so much going on. But at the core of us, we really know and believe that there is more to this than meets the eye, and that we do have some purpose, whether to live a purpose-driven life, whether it's to be kind to one another, to help your fellow human out, whatever it happens to be. We all have that understanding that we're here to help humanity elevate. And so January is going to give us that energy and that frequency. It's kind of like when that message, micromanaging the universe, comes through, it's like, pull your head out of your ass. This is not a time. This is not the time to be in drama mode. This is not the time to make it about you. The drama you, the ego you, the little you, right? The little I, not the big I. It is time now to go into the truth, your heart's truth, your soul's truth, your knowing, your deep intuitive knowing. And here's the color we can use. I love this. Here's the color we can use to fuel that for us. We've got burgundy. Awaken your passion. So loving this idea of burgundy. Burgundy is that beautiful, rich combination of the black and the red, right? And so we are talking about root chakra stuff. I am safe. I am secure. I have all of my needs met. I not only survive, I thrive. I'm connected to Mother Earth. And that, I'm going to say that the mixture of the black in there, it's the void. It's the pure potentiality. I also want to say to you, I'm hearing Earth Star Chakra. So the Earth Star Chakra is, I like to say, like the womb, like as we pass, not the womb, the birth canal. As we pass out of the birth canal and take our first breath into the atmosphere of the Earth, into this beautiful planet of Gaia, we are entering our Earth Star Chakra. And I would argue, we think of the root chakra as being number one. It's number one of the 7-star chakra system. But when we are talking about the 12-star chakra system, that is really the crest of it. And it's about accepting that I am here. I'm here now. I've chosen to take this journey. I've chosen to be embodied. And I accept that. I trust that the universe is going to take care of me, and I trust that Gaia is going to take care of me. So use that burgundy. Wear burgundy, buy a burgundy crystal. Look for burgundy colored flowers and things in nature. I feel like you want to make use of that color, because that color is going to help you to not micromanage the universe, to be more in flow. February. Oh, this is interesting. So we've got a 53. So shift, change, transformation, leading to new creation and new collaboration. It's the seahorse spirit. Watch and wait. And this is from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck from Colette Baron Reed. So February is going to bring about a lot of, I want to say, shock and awe. It's going to bring about a lot of truths revealed. And I feel like that's what we've been in for 3 years, but that's what I'm getting is truths revealed, shock and awe. It's kind of like you're not really surprised necessarily, but you're not 100% comfortable with what it is that you're seeing. It's kind of like, okay, I suspected that could be a possibility, but now that it's actually out there, I am like just floored that this has been going on, kind of thing. And what's interesting about seahorse is seahorses, the males actually carry the babies. They're the ones who carry the babies to term and give birth. And I think that's really significant right now, because what we are going to be witnessing, experiencing, engaging in February is going to be a lot of the deconstruction and depiling of the toxic divine masculine energy that is out there. I am not making a political statement here. I am not leaning in and saying that men are bad or men are toxic. It has nothing to do with that. We all have divine masculine and divine feminine within us. And the toxic masculinity, just like there can be toxic divine feminine as well. This is the toxic masculinity that is coming through the mix. And when we think of the seahorse giving birth, I feel like it's a message that we're getting rid of that toxic masculinity, or it's being exposed in some really intense and kind of viable ways. And what is going to need to be birthed through that is a healthier version, the healthy side of masculinity. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm talking about men versus women and making it a gender thing. It has nothing to do with that. So each of us, on an individual level, are going to be evaluating those aspects of ourselves and saying, what is it that I choose to give birth to in this moment? What side of the light do I want to be on? Because darkness is still a form of light. It's a lower vibrational energy of light, but it still is a form of light. It still is a form of source. So I feel like this, when we get the message about watch and wait, it's that a lot is going to be revealed, and you're being asked to really sit within that, to decide what that feels like for you and what you want to do with that information, because you're going to need to transmute it. You're going to need to transform that energy, and you're going to need to transform it on an individual level and put that out into the collective. Because that is our ultimate path of mastery. 53 equals 8. And the wait part, I feel, ties into our first card in January. And it's don't micromanage the universe. There's a lot that's going on here. There's a lot that is churning. There's a lot that is unknown, because we are in a chaotic, we're in the creative process, and we're in the chaotic part, or the chaotic phase of that creative process. So we don't know. We're in the middle of figuring it all out. So don't attach yourself to any outcomes. Watch and wait. Be an observer. do the work from the inside and be ready to lean in and take action when you're called to. But for now, it's watch and wait. So I feel like that's really important. Oh, and interesting. So we had Burgundy before, now we have Cherry. Live an extraordinary life. And it's a 19, which breaks down to a 10, which is 1, new beginnings based on an already established foundation. So this feels really important. I feel like the Cherry is like live an extraordinary life. It's saying, watch and wait, watch and observe what is transpiring, but don't allow what it is that you are observing to stop you from seeing that life is a delicious bowl of cherries. You know, it's opulence, it's decadence, it's living the light that is within you externally. Sharing that light doesn't necessarily mean, okay, I'm proselytizing and I'm telling you, you know, what you need to do and you're right and you're wrong, or, you know, whatever. It's more about being that walking example. You know, when you're light, when you are living this rich life, you're living this energy, you are feeding into other people's abilities to see what is possible for them, to see what extraordinary can be for them. I feel like February is going to be kind of one of those sort of turning point moments, because you are watching and waiting. And February is going to be a month where you're always going to be able to look back and say, here's where I was when. And it could be because there are some things that are very uncomfortable for us to experience, where, you know, kind of, I'll use the example of like 9/11. A lot of people, when you're asked about it, you're like, here's what I was doing, here's what time it was, you know, like the world stopped for me in that moment because of. I'm not necessarily saying that it's going to be that tragic, but I want to say it's going to be that impactful. And now we are on to March. And March, for March's card, we are pulling from the Rose Oracle, also from Rebecca Campbell. And I feel like there's almost like an energy of regroup in March. So let's see what the card is. Oh, beautiful. Yes, the fertile void. I was just talking about the void. Inner winter, rest, patience, potency, secret beginnings. So I feel like we've been watching and waiting, and now March, there is an energy of that potency. There's an energy of, okay, you know, I mentioned about the tower. The tower has fallen. The tower has crashed down. It's still smoldering a little bit. It's not completely on fire. It's smoldering now. And we have a better idea of what it is that we're looking at. And I feel from a collective perspective, the fertile void is coming through to say, listen, just like when the forest fire has come through and demolished a section of itself, that ash and what transpires in the soil of that becomes so fertile that everything is able to grow back in a more lush and abundant form. So March is going to bring about a lot of energy around growth and being able to really dive in to that fertile soil. And it's going to require each of us to really, again, continuing on the theme that we've already established here, going within to figure out how it is you want to contribute, and then putting it out there, being action oriented. And I know the fertile void is kind of saying like wait, enter winter, rest, patience. Yes, obviously we got a similar message in February, but I feel like there's almost like an urgency to the potency. This is kind of like when you know that like you've prepared for a particular race. You don't know exactly how the race is going to go, you know, a marathon or whatever. You don't know exactly how it's going to go. You've been preparing for it and you're like a week out and you're already thinking about the race and you're like, I wish it was right now. I wish I could run the race right now because I'm feeling like I know the secret. I know the answer. I just had an aha moment. And I know what it is I want to do. And you're just going to have to wait because the race is another week away, right? So it's how do I harness that energy and feed it into my plan and lay foundation to nurture the foundation for that plan. That's what this kind of feels like. I'm also hearing that this is going to be kind of a record month, and obviously there won't be any data to prove this or not. Hindsight is 2020, but I feel like it's going to be a record month where people start their own businesses, and I feel like it's going to be kind of reflective of people saying, I am ready to take my power back, or I'm ready to be in my own power. I'm ready to leave some of the 3D drama and chaos behind, and I'm ready to be my own boss, to be my own maker, to be in my sovereignty. If we talk about sovereignty, a king or a queen in their sovereignty doesn't ask for permission for shit. They just say, this is what I want to do, whether it makes sense or not. This is what I want to do. And they snap, and people do what they're told, right? So I feel like there's an energy of that coming up in March, where so many people are going to be applying for business licenses or opening up LLCs or things of that nature. And it does feel like it's small business, local. It's that community energy and that community feeling where you might start small, but you're starting in a way that a lot of other people can support you in that local way, in that local community. So March, I feel, is going to be very community oriented, action oriented in terms of your plan and where things are going, but also a decision to, in many ways, leave the game of life behind and to kind of create your own rules, right? Like build your own path. Sorry about that. I guess that's spirit telling me that it's a thumbs up. March, our colors, we have cyan. Build your confidence. And interesting, it's a 37, which is also a 10. So we talked about that, new beginnings based on an already established foundation. So the build your confidence, I feel, really lends itself to what I was saying, where there's going to be a surgence or a resurgence of people saying, I don't want to any longer put my livelihood in another person's hands. I want to have a plan B. I want to express myself differently. I want this to look differently for me moving forward. I am taking my power. And that is building your confidence. Also, I would say, even though the cyan is saying build your confidence, I want to say you're also finding your confidence. So it's an emboldenment of what has already been there. And so maybe for some of you who have felt underconfident for a long time, you suddenly kind of wake up and realize now's the time, seize the day. I know it's within me. I just have to act as if it's there. Whether I feel like the other, people in the world are going to acknowledge me or acknowledge it, I know it's there and I have to act as if. So a lot of, not everybody believes in this, but for me, this really helps. It's the fake it till you make it. It's borrowing those characteristics from other people that you admire, that you admire particular traits within them that you say, oh, I wish I could do it that way. Or look how graceful she is. Or, look at how, he leads with such love and, leads from the heart. You're going to be maybe borrowing some of those characteristics because they're already within you. And if we're talking about the collective, all you have to do is, sort of reach out and take it. It's there for you to take it. It's there for you to use it. The question is, will you use it? And that's kind of the energy of what I'm feeling. Okay, so April, we are pulling cards from the El Qui Oracle deck, She Who. And we have, she who questions, Amelie, curiosity, destiny, and search. So April is going to be one of those months where I feel like there's almost a tidal wave of emotion, but also a tidal wave of random opportunity. And I feel like from that collective energy, many of us are going to be kind of waking up with inspiration, or waking up and saying, you know what, I don't know why I feel like I need to do something different today, but I need to do something different. So maybe it's a day where you call in sick and you take a road trip and you go somewhere and you're like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm just doing it. It almost feels like April is a month of extreme intuition, and it's going to hit everyone. It's going to be there for everyone. And I feel like it's going to be big and bold because it needs to be in order to catch the attention of certain individuals, right? We can get in our own way. So I feel like Amelie is coming through to say, when this big intuitive wave hits, be curious about it. Seek out the answer to why. Follow the impetus. Now, I'm not saying, be dangerously risky or take, crazy risks or put yourself in harm's way. Be discerning. But anything that is an intuition, anything that is an inspiration that is from the divine is never going to put you in harm's way. It's the ego voice that taints it, right? So you've got this great inspiration and all of a sudden the ego voice is like, but who the hell do you think you are? Oh my God, what are you thinking? Don't you remember what happened last time when you did that? It's discerning that, okay, the ego voice could bastardize this. The ego voice could get in the way and screw it up. But the intuitive guidance in the universe and your guides are saying, be curious, go search. We've created something for you. We've brought you something that you're really going to like. And it's up to you to actually walk the path, to take those steps. Also, the she who questions. I feel like there are going to be a lot of questions that come up on an individual level around that collective experience. And so I feel like there's going to also be, we just talked in March about a high number of people starting their own businesses. In April, I feel it's like, how can I help? So volunteerism, people feeling like they're ready to create a movement, to create something that is going to really be a starting off point, a launching point for them to feel like, this is how I choose to contribute. Who's with me? There must be other people that feel the same way as me. And so I see a lot of asking a lot of questions. People are going to be asking questions because they're seeking that type of community experience. So don't be afraid to answer people's questions when they're asking you point blank, are you in this camp or that camp? Are you interested in this? Is this what you're talking about? Or do you mean this? Answer those questions directly, because I don't feel like anyone's in danger. I don't feel like you need to not speak your truth and ask those particular questions. What it feels a little more like is separating the wheat from the chaff. Time is important. Time is money, right? Like time is the commodity in that moment. And people are like, I'm seeking something and I really want it right now. So if you don't have what I'm seeking, love and light, I need to move on. So I feel like clarity and directness is going to be important in your communication style. And there you're going to have a lot of inquiries about what it is that you are offering, bringing up, offering, answering people's directions questions. People stop you on the side of the road and they're like, can you help me? I'm lost. I can't seem to find blah, blah, blah. So lots of questioning. Don't be afraid to give answers that you have to a question and be direct about it. Don't beat around the bush. The color that's going to support us in April is silver. Be persistent. And how interesting, it's a 34, which is a 7. So we're coming out of an 8-year. We're now into a 9-year. We've been getting a lot of like 1s, new beginnings, but we're also getting 9s. So we're like, this is definitely from a numerological perspective, highlighting that we are at the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. And I just want to point that out. So the silver, the be persistent, with questions, with your curiosity, be persistent with your curiosity. Curiosity doesn't necessarily have to involve anybody else. Curiosity can be in a number of different ways. It can be curiosity about your own self-growth and your self-awareness. Curiosity can be about your neighbors. Curiosity can be about different parts of the world that you would like to travel to, that you would like to see. Also, I can't help but notice that, of course, there's a big money focus on this particular card, and silver is a form of currency that we do use to a certain extent, but I want to say it's also it's a mineral and a metal that comes from Mother Earth. So I feel like the she who questions, that curiosity and that search is going to be fueled by the resources that Mother Earth is going to supply you. So don't worry about the financial component of things, the financial component of choices that you're making, because I feel like you're going to have exactly what it is that you need. Okay, so moving on to May, and we are pulling cards from the Wisdom of the Oracle Tarot, and this is Colette Baron Reed. Oh, I love this, and it's another 7. Another 34. So we have 2 34s in a row, which is significant, and it's a leg up. So May, I feel like you're going to notice a lot of people really being in a spirit of being willing to help you. But you need to be willing to A, ask for help when you need it, and B, be willing to receive it. And for some of you, I feel like you won't be asking, but someone's going to witness that you need help. It's the, okay, I need to, swallow my pride. I need to put down this idea that I've got to do all of these things by myself, or that I can't trust other people around me. The leg up is coming through because I feel like from a collective energy vantage point, people are starting to recognize that they need to gather. They're magnetized to similar energy that is on the same track as them. And I don't know how to quite explain this, but I feel like everyone's going to be in a mode of wanting to help, wanting to assist, but also wanting to find a place where they can feel comfortable enough to get help and assistance and, all the things and the stuff around that. So when we're talking about that, I'm not saying there's division as much as there is like law of attraction. Like attracts like. And if you're not in a space to be open to receive it, you're going to be kind of left out in the cold. And that's what I feel like. We've got these beautiful polar bears. Now, the polar bear is used to being out in the cold. They have like huge, piles of fur and all the rest of it. Well, you and I, we do not. We just do not. So I feel like there's this energy in May of like a surrendering your fierce independence. Not saying you're giving up who you are and not saying you're giving away your power. You're surrendering temporarily that fierce independence and you're replacing it with interdependence. So it's not dependence, it's interdependence. And I feel almost this energy of you're helping me with this, I can help you with this. Oh, great. There's reciprocity. We come together and we solve sort of a mutual problem. Even though your problem is very different than my problem, we both have something for one another. This community has something for me, and I have something for this community. So there's going to be this like attracts like energy. And this may even, I'm hearing that connected to friendships, this may also be a month where you are finding more like-minded connections, deeper connections. And I feel a lot of newness with this as well. So, you know, I keep saying that 2025 is going to be unprecedented. The year is unprecedented. Lots of unprecedented experiences. I feel we've already talked about like unprecedented amounts of people signing up for, you know, business licenses, small business licenses, and then sort of this unprecedented energy here with like people just making new friends. People are more open with one another, and it's because there's understanding that we don't need a reliance on other people. We need an interdependence. And we need to create it. Aquarius is all about community. It's about the people. Power to the people. I think that was in one of my, I think it was in a feather message or a feather reading for you guys. So power to the people. This is how we make it happen. What's the color that you're going to use? The frequency. Oh my God, we're getting so many reds. A lot of reds this year. It makes sense, right? If we think about it from that, 7-star chakra space, it's the number 1. So it is the new beginning. Magenta, and it's a 16, which is a 7. So I have to point that out too. 3 7s in a row. What is 3 7s in a row in Vegas? Lucky, winner, ding, 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 ding. Connect to your deepest inner knowing. So the magenta color is really going to support you on an internal level to, especially for you introverts, to be able to express yourself externally, to open yourself to more human engagement, human interaction. Don't freak out. It doesn't mean that you have to give up your, you know, your need for not isolation, but just how you recharge, you know, needing your alone time and things like that. It's not that. It's about we're creating a different way to be. We're creating a different way to exist and to thrive. We're letting go of the old paradigm of I need this and this and this in order to survive. And so the system of money, the value of money, has been elusive. So what if we, you know, what if money wasn't the issue? How would we survive? How would we thrive? How would we get our needs met? So it's a big paradigm shift on a mental level individually that is then going to be reflected externally through people like attracting like. People with similar thoughts, similar ahas coming together to offer something new. June, Jesus. Acts of service. So this is the Divine Masters Oracle from Kyle Gray. So acts of service. When you serve, the universe serves you. June is going to be a month where I feel there's a lot of anxiety in the collective. And I feel like this anxiety comes because there is another sort of shock and awe experience that gets exposed. It's not something that's going to cause you to go numb, and it's not something that's going to cause you to feel an overwhelm to the point where you shut down. It does feel, however, like it spurs you into more of an act of service. And I feel like there are going to be so many of you in June that the plan that you've been sort of laying out, those questions you've been asking, June is the month where you're going to really be able to put the wheels in motion. There's going to be a lot of action going on. And if we think about Master J, we think about his story, we understand, and I'm just going to throw out my opinion. I feel like he was a starseed, you know, one of the early star seeds that came on the planet, to awaken our sort of true knowing and our true origins, talking about that knowing, not the knowing within. And it just wasn't the right time. Like, it just wasn't the right time. There was just a lot more, I want to say, sort of the dark light quotient over the light quotient. So I feel like what we can learn from, sort of his story is that June is going to be a month where you are called into action, but you're called into action from your heart and your soul space. You're not called into action because somebody has done something, because whatever it is that we're seeing, it has happened before. And perhaps it has happened a number of times in multiple ways. So what has been our problem? That we haven't done something about it beforehand. You're going to feel on an individual level. And I feel like a lot of you are going to feel that on an individual level, and then you're going to act on it, and you're going to discover, oh, there are a lot of other people who are acting on it as well. June, I feel, also is a month where, from a financial perspective, and we tapped into this in April with the silver, something is going on with the financial, with the banks. And I feel like there's a hint of it. It starts in April, but I feel like it really hits us in June. Not to cause fear. I feel like it's going to take a long time for it to be completely dismantled, but there is going to be, I want to say, a consequence. There's going to be an effect. And it's going to be important for each of us to, I want to say, have a plan. And spoiler alert, your plan needs to be really deeply connecting to your intuition, making sure that your conduit, your receiving conduit, is clear so that you are receiving that divine direction for you, where you need to go, what you need to do, how things are. And I keep hearing, detach from the drama. Things aren't always what they seem, is what I keep hearing. Things aren't always what they seem. And here is the supportive color. It's the white light. It's time to lighten up. And it's a 39, which breaks down to a 12, which breaks down to a 3. So it's all about creation. And I feel like that's exactly what this is. Stay in the light. Go to the light. Step into the light. That's what you want to do. Because when you are stepping into the light and you're recognizing it's time to lighten up, what you're really doing is you're seeing that there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of game playing that's going on out in the communities, out in the, sort of the collective of things. And you, as that light worker, as that starseed, as that empath, as that seeker, that sensitive, you're saying, it's not that I'm bypassing what I'm seeing. I'm choosing to infuse my light onto this situation because I know that the light is going to either continue to expose what needs to be exposed so that we understand, like, if you don't know it's broken, how can you fix it? So once you know it's broken, okay, now we know how to go in and solve the problem. But it's also about understanding frequency, that when you are shining your light, even if you're one person against, 12, let's say 12 people or 20 people that are at a lower vibrational energy, your light is powerful enough to make a shift, even in a subtle way, even in an energetic way. You don't necessarily have to say anything, just your presence there makes the shift, makes the change. So the white light, that white energy, is what is required for you. Lean into that. Jesus used to, I believe, wear white robes too whenever he was sort of walking around. I mean, who knows if that really is the case or not. But from my Christian upbringing, I remember seeing him all the time in like these white robes. Perhaps that was his aura. Perhaps that was his energetic field that was being expressed. All right, so July. Let's see what's going on in July. And this is from the Queen Maeve Oracle deck, Tess Whitehurst. The Falcon's Flight, 31. So I'm definitely feeling that there's an overarching energy within the collective that it's time to fly the coop. I do feel there's going to be a lot of travel, a lot of people who've been thinking about relocating, actually making the move to wherever that is. I do see that there will be a number of people leaving North America. I do see that there's going to be, I want to say a little bit more of an influx going into Europe and into sort of the Australian, and Australia has really strict immigration laws, but I feel like maybe it's an extended vacation, like you're taking 6 months, you apply for a 6-month visa or you apply for a year visa kind of thing. So I see that people are going to be relocating. Now, you might relocate within your own country. You might relocate in your own state. But I'm definitely feeling this energy, like the Falcon's Flight. Like I'm peacing out. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna fix because the light is shifting here. So I'm getting the hell out of Dodge and I'm going somewhere else. What I love about this particular card is the prominence of green energy. There's going to be a lot of growth, but it is growth that comes from the inside out. It is not growth that comes from someone saying, you have to do this or you have to do that. Are we being catalyzed right now? Yes, the collective is definitely going to have a lot of catalytic moments that are encouraging us to make different choices, but it's catalyzing us individually in different ways. What collectively is happening is I feel that there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of a lot of deep, lasting awareness. And it's awareness around who I want to be in this change, who I choose to emulate, how I choose to allow this strength that is coming from within me out. And when we talk about the falcon as well, whenever we're talking about these predator birds, they have a strong vision. They can see their prey from afar. And if we take it maybe out of the predator-prey perspective, but we see it more as I'm seeing a need or I'm seeing a resource, something that I need, and that's my target. That's my focus. July is going to bring you a lot of focus around what you have chosen to do and step into. And how that's going to affect the collective is I feel it's kind of infusing a lot of confidence into the collective. Others are going to be borrowing your energy the way earlier in the year you were borrowing from them. And so it comes full circle. So expect a lot of powerful growth moments. Expect a lot of aha moments. I don't know that there's a ton of huge action as much as it's now I have the vision. Because of this aha moment, I now know what my target is. I now know what I'm putting my focus to. And that's where that sort of action space steps in. And that's where the growth happens. So there's been, if you can, so if we look back on, this is month 7, there's been a lot of the push-pull. There's been a lot of the ebb and flow. Okay, we're moving. Okay, now we're pausing and waiting. Okay, we're moving. Now we're pausing and waiting. I feel like this in July, that growth happens. And once the growth happens, now you're leading out of an ebb, another ebb, and into a flow. I feel like this whole year is going to be quick ebb and flow, quick tide, quick ebb and flow that's going to be happening all the time. Oh, and beautiful. The color that we need to work with is indigo, which is fabulous. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Improve your vision. Ha! Okay, so you can't make this shit up, right? I was just talking about the vision. So it's a 5. 14 is a 5. So what are you doing to change your foundation so that you can then transform yourself in amongst all of the other transformation? Also, indigo is connected to the third eye. It's our spidey senses, intuition, access to esoteric wisdom and knowledge, and the overarching vision that we have for our lives. And I'm also going to point out, like, indigo people and indigo children. I happen to relate or resonate with the label of indigo. I have felt that I was an indigo individual for a really long time. Indigos came onto the planet to reveal what is broken with society, to be a conduit for tearing down redundant and broken systems. And so I feel like July, it's kind of the rise of the ego. It's like, we told you, and we see it now. And so this, I feel a lot like we're clearing away the rubble. And we talked about that earlier. The tower has fallen down, it's smoldering. Well, now I feel like the smolder is to a point where people can get in and we can start to clear the path. So I feel like we're clearing out in order to make room for new vision. And that new vision is going to come through us individually, and then we're going to express it out into the collective. And that's going to help everyone collectively. So now we're into August, and I'm pulling cards from Barbieri's Zodiac deck. And let's just see what comes up. Oh, interesting. Okay. So in August, we actually have the Cancer card. And I feel like right away when I'm tapping into this energy, there's going to be, we just talked about the ebb going into the flow. Now I feel that there's a little bit of an ebb. And the ebb is happening because I feel like there's some tenderness. There's the, you step forward and all of a sudden like somebody swats your hand and you're like, oh my God, I was so excited to move forward, but I just stepped on someone's toes and I didn't even know there was someone out there, and I'm like nursing my wound. And so it's kind of like, okay, I need to take a step back and I need to be a little more prepared. So I'm hearing the phrase gung-ho. Don't be so gung-ho. I also feel like August is going to be an energy collectively where people are going to need to be more in their homes. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm going to say to you, I never channeled anything like this. I never asked about anything like this, but certain channelers that I follow lightly off and on, because I try to be a clear channel for my own stuff, so I try not to follow a lot of that stuff, is this concept that there's going to be another shutdown or lockdown or kind of a COVID type situation. I don't know how that is. I feel that there's going to be some more militant action. I'm so sorry. My cleaning crew, I asked them to not do vacuuming until later and they didn't listen. So I apologize in advance for that noise. Feeling really much here like there could be something in this month that causes us to go into another temporary lockdown. So Cancer is about hearth and home, and, nurture yourself. Be in a space where you can really nurture yourself. So the Cancerian energy in August, I do feel is going to create a bit of a kind of a lockdown type of situation. But it's very important that you not lean into fear around it, and that you open yourself a little bit more to being, I want to say, nurturing the mind, nurturing the head, the heart, and the soul. And the card that we got for this is Auburn. So again, another red. And I have to point out it's also another 7. So kind of like a lot of 7 going on here. So ground yourself. If you do not ground yourself in the month of August, what I'm feeling coming through with a lot of that is going to be a lot of this scattered energy, a lot of fear, a lot of getting swept away, not being at your core. And for those star seeds out there, we tend to like to ground ourselves to the heart of the universe. And I'm feeling like this month we actually really are going to need to connect to Gaia, connect to Mother Earth. This is definitely a month where you're going to want to get your, barefoot tootsies in the grass. You want to have conversations with the squirrels. You want to be touching the trees. You want to be getting out and about in nature. Because if you're not grounding yourself, I feel like it's going to be a really, really rough ride. So open yourself to that. And I have to say that I restarted this recording because the cleaning crew keeps using the vacuum. And it's really loud. And so I just recorded September and October and realized that I never hit the record button. So I've already pulled the card for September. And this is from the Luminous Humanist deck from Kelly Sullivan Walden. And it is the Rings of Saturn. And what we need to know about Saturn is, astrologically, Saturn is the planet of limitation. It is the planet of restriction. It's like parental energy. And so I feel like September, because we're seeing a lockdown in August, September, I feel that we're also in that lockdown mode. But the rings of Saturn are inviting us to be a little more expansive. Now, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and Saturn is that planet of limitation and restriction. But I feel like what is transpiring here in September is that there's an encouragement to bend the rules, break the rules, to extend your radius. So there may be a lockdown, but you are finding ways to be able to get out and about and do what it is that you need to do. I also was talking about, with this particular card, I feel like September is going to really bring about a lot of craziness and chaos around the school system. And again, not making this political, just kind of sharing with you what it is that I'm seeing, what it is that I'm getting and receiving. And I've been getting this for a while. I keep hearing 50% enrollment. So August and September is really going to be that 50% enrollment energy. And I keep seeing sort of, again, unprecedented times, a resurgence of homeschooling. But it's not homeschooling in the way that we've been experiencing it or seeing it in recent times. It feels like the homeschooling is actually going to be happening in different ways. And I see, for example, like retired teachers coming out to say, let's meet at the park. For the people in my community, let's meet at the park and I will, do a lesson. And it's going to be real world lessons, real world information and energy and knowledge that's going to help our kids to be able to expand. And once again, another red-based color, we have ruby, and it is a 4. 4 is foundational, also manifesting. And it is rejuvenate your body. And this feels really important, especially when we had in August the ground yourself. Now here in September, and the rings of Saturn and all of that restriction and finding ways to break out and break through imposed restriction, you're being given the ruby color. And it is about rejuvenating the body, connecting to the body, allowing the body to heal the head, the heart, the soul. I feel like it's what are you going to get from your body? And what are you going to get through your body? You want to take your body on the journey because that's really important. I also feel like there's a message coming through, and I'm going to read it as August and September because I've had so many interruptions doing this video. I'm so sorry. I keep getting that there's going to be this people needing to do more, having the desire to get out more, do more walking, do more hiking, doing more things outdoors. And I feel like this is kind of like nobody's going to want to go into the gym anymore. Not nobody, but a lot of people are not going to be interested in doing the treadmill or doing the bike indoors. It's going to be a lot of outdoor activity to rejuvenate the body, to bring the body in line with what you are wanting to create. So I feel that there is, again, going to be sort of a drop in a lot of the typical normal ways that people have been maintaining their bodies. We're letting go a little bit of the rat race, and we're bringing more of the joy of what this is all about into our space and into our place. October, I pulled a card from also Kelly Sullivan Walden from her Hero's Journey. And this makes a lot of sense. It's another 5, and we've got where you are is where it's at. Stay still until you are divinely moved. So I can't remember if I talked about this at all or not already, but this year we have seen has been very much an ebb and flow. And I want to say the whole year feels like quick tide. A lot of, okay, the flow is coming in and now we've got an ebb. And then the flow comes in and then we've got an ebb. Lots of waves of energy, waves of a stop and go, waves of push and pull. And this makes a lot of sense, especially if there is in fact kind of a lockdown, a bit of a, I want to say sort of a militia or militant energy or martial law that I feel is sort of seeping around here. Again, not to make it political, just sharing with you what I'm getting. August, September, and into October, our guides are not giving this information to us to scare us. They're giving us this information to prepare us. So where you are is where it's at. I also feel with this very much like radical surrender. It is what it is. I'm being given this information so that I can protect myself, so that I can protect the community that I'm connected to, and so that I can be protected by the community that I have connected with. And I feel like there is power in that. There is safety in being in your own sovereign space, but there is also safety in understanding that it's all happening for a reason. You might not like it, but the universe doesn't give a shit whether you like it or not. The universe says this is what it is. Your choices are about how you choose to react or respond to this. So stay still until you are divinely moved. There may be some issues around safety in terms of getting out or going out or doing things like that. We went through that with COVID. So you survived COVID once. You're here watching this. You can survive this again. You already know how to do this. So it's accessing wisdom that you have already earned. And I feel like this where you are is where it's at. There's a lot that's going to be circulating that's going to give us an opportunity to shift and change in the ways that we want to shift and change. October is a month where you want to bide your time. It's reading the room. It's understanding that there is a divine timing factor here. And while you may not like what you're witnessing or what is transpiring out in the world, food shortages and, distribution issues and whatnot that's coming up, the guidance here is radical surrender of what is. And from that place, you get to choose how you wish to proceed. And there is, I want to say, that inner knowing that you're now going to be able to express in a positive way. Another red card, we've got watermelon, 27, which is a 9. Have fun with your inner child. So where you are is where it's at. When we are stuck in something, or we're in a situation where, okay, I hate this situation, but it is what it is. It's time to get creative. It's time to look within. And I want to say there's going to be a lot of opportunity here. It says have fun with your inner child, but I feel that there's also going to be an opportunity here for you to connect with your inner child. I don't know why I'm hearing this, but a lot of people who have needed therapy for a really long time and people who've been in resistance of therapy, I feel like October is where therapy is going to be. So if you are a therapist, hang on to your hat. Make sure that you schedule some downtime in your schedule because you're going to be busy. When we think about watermelon, like the actual thing of watermelon, the flavor of it and the, we think about the summertime or whatever, it's refreshing. So this isn't about, when I say therapy, I feel like it's going to be a catalytic experience for people to go look at their inner child. But the approach is not going to be to do a crazy emotional deep dive. There's enough of all of that surfacing in the collective anyway. This is going to be, how do I bring my inner child into my new vision? How do I bring my ego along for the ride in a way that doesn't encourage the ego to take over and want to be the boss? Let that inner child out, let that inner child play. Ooh, okay. And now we have in November, this is the Black Moon Lilith Oracle Tarot. Who's that by? Adama Sase. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is a really cool deck. And Lilith is the divine goddess archetype for 2025. So I thought it was important to pull a card from her deck. I love this. The Phoenix. Death and rebirth. So November, I'm definitely feeling that any sort of being in lockdown for our own safety or, some other viral thing that's happening, I feel that November is where things start to lighten up. And I feel the Phoenix comes through because it is, I keep hearing like an inner revolt that causes a lot of rebirth, a lot of, I'm not doing this again. Truth revealed, a recognition of what is transpiring, and there is a resurgence, I keep using that word as well, a resurgence of that inner knowing catapulting you, being the fuel, being the courage, the bravery to step out, to feel emboldened, to step out and do new things. So I definitely feel like November is forced freedom, or like, that's not the right way to put it, but like we're all going to have the opportunity to kind of break out of the mold, break out of a really unhealthy pattern and cycle. Definitely about, again, taking back the power. No longer listening to things at face value or taking things at face value. We had a lot of information at the beginning of the year around asking questions and truth revealed. This is coming up as well to say, okay, well, because of that truth revealed, what you're saying to us now, I don't know if that's really true. So there's this energy of reliance on the self. And I feel like the Phoenix is coming through to say in November, that's when everything crests. That's when everything sort of unfolds. And in these collective communities, there is strength, safety in numbers. There is strength in that. There is a detachment, a solid, clear detachment from anything that is not truth, that is not something that you want to feed into. You don't want to feed, don't fight fire with fire. You don't want to feed energy into an argument, for example, because that just keeps the argument going. Just using that as an analogy. I also feel like November, from a world stage, November is going to create an environment or there's going to be an event that brings everyone together in a really intensified but also intentional way. And I have no idea what that is, but I see that there's a big movement, grassroots movement. And I come back to, we talked about that, I think in April or May, there was this movement, people feeling that need to create a movement. So there's something that has come to fruition based on what was started earlier. And I feel a lot of people coming on board, and especially people like us who are watching this type of guidance. This is definitely going to be a feel good. This is definitely going to be a way for you to feel like you matter, like what you're doing is making a big difference in that collective. And I feel a lot of celebratory energy that comes through as a result. Okay, the color you want to work with in November is brown. Establish boundaries. And it's interesting, it's a 6. 6 is the harmony, balance, and alignment. So with the Phoenix being the energy of the 5, that transformational energy, the brown is coming through to provide foundation. And I feel like that boundaried energy, this makes me think of chocolate. That boundaried energy is going to be important because you're going to recognize, I'm not letting the darkness in. I'm just simply not entertaining it. I'm not feeding into it. I'm not bypassing it. I'm not ignoring what is out there. I am simply choosing where I invest my time, my energy, my focus, my love, my light. Because, and we went through this once before, because you know that wherever you put your attention to, you've seen now tangible results of the fruits of your labor. And that brown energy is coming through to support. I also keep hearing the nurturing, because we also, when we think brown, we think soil, earth, that earthing energy. Also, the chocolate is kind of interesting. Chocolate can open up our vessels, blood vessels in the mind. Like if you suffer from migraines, you know, one of the healthy ways, or the you know, sort of holistic ways to help you is to eat some chocolate, because it opens up whatever tension is being created in the head. So I feel like almost that brown and that chocolate is encouraging us to open up our crown chakra and our third eye chakras, which is kind of interesting. And we're finally at December. And December, we are pulling cards from the Goddess Oracle deck from Colette Theron Reed. So let's end the year with some of that delicious goddess energy. And we've got Métis, wisdom. And it's also an 8. So I didn't mention, but the Phoenix card in this one is an 8. And this is also an 8. 35 is an 8. So December, I feel there's going to be a clear, how do I put this? I mentioned earlier the word pods. I feel like that's exactly what this is about. It's not clear division or clear divides of communities, although there can be that perception of what's going on. What I feel more so here is it's like everyone in December feels very clear about the communities that they've chosen, and there's happiness in that choice. There's resolve in that choice. There's commitment to what that looks like moving forward. And while I want to say the world at large isn't completely burned to the ground, systems aren't completely burned to the ground, although there are going to be some systems that are, they don't look the same. At the end of this year, there are going to be a lot. I feel it's a lot of financial, a lot of banking. Like banking as we know it is definitely not going to be what we are used to it being by the end of 2025 and leading into 2026. There are other systems that are going to be crashing kind of as a result. That's going to, I want to say it's the domino effect. So that's going to happen a little bit after. But I feel like December really brings about this energy of we are relying on our own wisdom. We are making choices to commit to different things, to put our energy into different things that are more within our own control. Again, I come back to that knowing. We are leaning on people, places, and things, that interdependence. We know now what that path looks like. And in a very short period of time, 1 year is not a long time. In a very short period of time, we have established where we're going, the direction that we're taking, the sources that we can rely on. And all of it is connected to interdependence. We're not giving away our independence. We are interdependent. And that brings us that wise, sovereign control. And I hesitate to use the word control because we are in control of nothing other than, ourselves, our own choices, and our responses or reactions to things. But that's the whole point. I feel like the wisdom is that in December, everything looks different, but there's a clear path ahead, and there's resolve, and there's commitment, and there's a sense of excitement about it, because the wisdom is in knowing that we've got this. No matter what else is transpiring, we've got this. And it's a clear detachment and a move away from what we have known, what has been established forever. And we're just beaten to the tune of our own drum. December, I feel, is also going to be a month where some weird restrictions are going to be, there's going to be an attempt to place weird restrictions on particular groups of people. And I want to say that what I'm feeling around this is that it's like Darth Vader's final kick at the can. And when everyone comes together and just, I want to say rises up and just simply says no, in that collective number, that collective group, Darth Vader's power, and I'm not making a reference to who Darth Vader is. I'm using Darth Vader as the analogy for fear, control, domination, power. Okay, so I want to clarify that. This is where you recognize that Darth Vader is just a man. You know, the helmet came off and you see the man behind all of this. And all of a sudden, he's just a man. Another analogy that I use all the time is the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Well, guess what? Your power is deflated. You no longer have that level of power because we have found a different way. We found a way that doesn't involve this drama, this chaos. We found a way that doesn't necessitate our participation in a lot of that. And speaking from a spiritual perspective, I feel like December is really going to be that month where there's a clear delineation of, oh, I thought I needed this, but I don't. And this feels good. There's liberation around it. You know, it's interesting that we got the Phoenix in November. Phoenix can be, you know, in many ways, a liberation experience, a liberation feeling. So, and apparently Spirit agrees. So December, I feel we're going to look very different. Things are going to look very different. There's still going to be all sorts of stuff going on. It's going to be that way for a few years. But there's going to be a different attitude towards that. Oh my God, we got another red card. So root chakra, beginnings, the foundation. We need to lean into those colors because that is what is going to serve us as we are birthing this new age of Aquarius. We've got Rose, attracting a relationship, and it's an 8. So I think that's really interesting. So 8 and 8, and it's 3 8s in a row. And earlier we got 3 7s in a row. We've had a number of 9s. We've had a lot of 5s. And, you know, the 1s, the 10s, the 1s, new beginnings based on an already established foundation. So there's a lot of synchronicity numerologically in this reading. So the Rose, the attracting a relationship, what I really feel here in December is that it is about understanding where that soulmate energy is. And I'm not talking about romance, even though this is implying romance. I'm not talking about that. This is the wholeness, the coming together, the blending of the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy into all that we are doing, into all that we are. And we're doing it from a perspective of reconnecting with one another. You know, yes, it's the age of technology. We still have phones and screens and, you know, all sorts of things and stuff. And we're going to have more and more of that. I mean, that didn't come up a lot in the reading today, but it's all there. It's absolutely all there. And I feel like it's there to help us. You know, it's all in the perspective. We have the light and the shadow within all of us. How we choose to use it is going to dictate and determine the experiences that we have. So I feel like the Rose is really coming through to say that there is more deep, meaningful connection between you and others, you and community in December. And even though the rest of the world is going to kind of feel like a shit show, you're going to have a lot of support in this area. And I almost want to say to you, a lot of us are going to say, I'm so grateful to have this. I'm so grateful to be in this space. This is better than what I was originally striving for. This is better. This is where it's at. So lean into that Rose energy in December because it is going to be about acknowledging a lot of the shifts and changes, the wisdom that has come as a result of being able to lean into one another, being able to commit to a community that you feel safe enough to be interdependent in and to thrive. So, oh my goodness. All right, Black Feather peeps, this is a big year. This didn't even touch upon a lot of the sort of individual things that are coming through. And of course, throughout the year, I'm, always going to be doing different readings and things. So we'll see how it goes. But I really want to encourage you. I know there's been a lot of stuff that's come through this reading that could be seen or interpreted as, oh my God. I encourage you to release any tension around it and to really be present with, it is what it is. And the choice that I have right now is in how I choose to live my life. And I want to stay in a higher frequency and vibration. So I am grateful for all of it because of what it's going to teach me, because of the growth it's going to bring, because of the exciting relationships that I'm developing this year that are going to feel very supportive. And I am free. I am liberated from this drama. I'm liberated from this shit show. I am a soul. I am a sovereign soul being. And I am here observing the game of life. And that's exactly what it is. It's a game. So if you struggle with any of this stuff, I'm here. You know where I'm at. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see here, please feel free to like, subscribe, and click the bell on my YouTube channel so that you can be informed of all the content that I receive. I am on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube, and I love doing a lot of YouTube content. 2025 is going to be a great year. If you are feeling anxious, nervous, if you are wanting to know what's going on in your world, please click the link below to book a session with me, and we will get right into the nitty-gritty, the heart of the matter for you. This is a year where there are going to be a lot of ups and downs, but there's also great opportunity. And I want to empower and encourage all of you to embrace that opportunity. And if I can be of help or of service in any way, that would make my heart so happy. I am here for you. Please enjoy this 2025 year for you. Take care of yourselves and transform well.